Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a playthrough of Fields of Fire, the Deluxe Edition, and disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So Fields of Fire is a solo wargame series from GMT, and it's known to be a great system for squad-level warfare and battle, but it's always been known also to have kind of an incomprehensible and difficult-to-enter rulebook. So in this new Deluxe Edition, they now have these really nice kind of step-by-step tutorial missions that slowly teach you the game. And when you're ready, they also have a standalone mission to add some more complex elements. And once you feel comfortable with all of that, you can jump into one of the actual campaigns, the World War II one being the simplest. And this is great because I tried the Fields of Fire system many years back and was never able to get into it because I found the system just a little bit too tough to grok. So what am I showing you today? I didn't want to jump into the full complexity of the standalone mission. So instead, what I'm doing is the final, most complex mission in the tutorial sequence. So this is going to show you pretty much all of the major rules, except that the unit mix will be very limited. There's no armor, there's no aircraft, there's no snipers, just basic machine guns, mortars, squad level combat, that kind of stuff. And I'll try to walk through things as clearly as I can. There are a lot of rules here and a lot of little rules exceptions, so I might miss some things. So I'll put in notes about my errors as I realize them or check the comments for people that spot other things that I missed. So let's kind of explain the basics of what you're seeing here and the basics of play before we get into actually going on. So this one is basically a scouting mission. To win, we have to clear all of these potential contacts on these terrain cards in front of us. Once those are all clear and all the enemies are removed from the map, then we win. And this is supposed to be kind of a training exercise. So like if our people become casualties, they're not really dying, they're just laying down and pretending. But all the action on the game takes place on these cards, each representing one area, one type of terrain. Down here with these face-down cards, this is called the staging area. You see a whole bunch of my counters. I'll get into those in a second. And then going a little bit farther up, you have 3 rows of actual full locations. You see different terrains here, so like marsh, woods, orchards, open fields, and also some minor elevations. So like this open field is on top of a hill. The hill doesn't set the actual terrain type, it just makes it at a higher elevation, which affects line of sight. And what's going to happen is I'm going to give orders through my command structure. I've got my main CO right here, along with a mortar section that's been assigned to him. And then I've got 2 platoons, first platoon and second platoon, each with their commander here, and they are in radio contact with my company commander. And they've each got 3 squads assigned to them. They've each got a machine gun. They've each got an anti-tank bazooka team. And they've each got some spotters. For first platoon, they've got artillery. And for second platoon, they've got mortars. These are like off-map artillery teams, not like my mortar team here that's actually on the map with us. Now, in a full mission like the standalone mission, we would have a 3rd platoon. We would also have a second in command for the main commander, an XO, that could also be giving orders. So things are, again, slightly simpler here than you'll see in the bigger missions. But yeah, we're going to go through this sequence of play. We're going to give orders. In the staging area, no combat takes place. So until we kind of creep out here and see what these potential contacts yield, whether enemies pop up or not, we're going to see how combat plays out. And importantly, everything in the game, or most things, are determined by this action deck. Randomization of elements, whether attacks are successful or not, all that kind of stuff, what type of enemies we spot, all that stuff is going to come from here. There are no dice in the game. You just flip cards from this deck over and over and over again. There is one reshuffle card somewhere in the deck. When you reach that, then you're going to reshuffle the entire deck. But besides that, yeah, you just keep on going this, and this is going to control your fate. And before I start going into the actual first turn and kind of walking through some of the actions you can take and such, just to talk about communication. So in the earlier tutorials, you don't have communication. They only introduce the idea of radios in the last mission. But you can always communicate verbally or with hand signs when you're on the same card. And communication comes from these commanding units. The first platoon can command all of their assigned people. Second platoon can command all of theirs. The CO can command anybody, but only if they're on the same card or if they're in radio contact. So like if, for example, this squad member goes charging up here into the marsh, they're just going to kind of hang out there. They'll shoot at people that shoot at them. They can do a few other things, and they'll sometimes get some initiative orders to kind of take care of business on their own. But until their platoon HQ actually comes up here and joins them, they can't really do much because they don't have radios. They don't have any way to get new orders. So they just kind of hang out and wait for someone to tell them what to do. That's a key concept of the game. And yeah, without radios, like all of my commanders and the mortar team have available, again, you can only do orders when you're on the exact same card as somebody. But even the radios in the World War II scenarios are super weak. They can only do contact through line of sight. And line of sight is determined by these white borders and these darker borders. Anything with a darker border you can see into from an adjacent card, and adjacency does include diagonal. So like these people can see into the marsh, but you can't see past it, whereas white borders don't block line of sight. So let's just switch these for a second. If I was in these woods, like with my light machine gun, I could see through the open fields to the marsh. So this white border would not impede my line of sight, but I couldn't see past the marsh to the open fields. So that's how line of sight works. And again, with these radios, we have to have line of sight. So pretty much to order anybody in these initial World War II scenarios, we're going to have to be adjacent to each other. Unless, importantly, we get on top of a hill, because once you're on a hill, you have kind of unimpeded line of sight, unless you go past another hill, like there are some in the third row. So, like from this hill, I could see all the way to the gully draw. The orchard grove would not impede that line of sight. So it's good to get maybe our CO on top of the hill, although it's also open, so they might just get shot a lot if we do that, which would not be good for our command structure. But all right, so those are some of the basics. Let me get into how a turn actually runs. We'll walk through the first turn a bit more slowly, although not much is going to happen on the first turn. I'm going to send a few people forward. We're going to have some potential contacts, maybe have a bit of combat, but things will get much more complicated on turn 2. So let's see how we go. All right, so you've got turns to keep track of. We have to defeat everybody by turn 10 in this scenario, clear out the entire map, and we've got these phases. So first is the higher HQ event phase. There are no events in these learning scenarios, so we would draw a card and potentially have an event happen. That phase is always going to be skipped in this scenario. Then we have the enemy activity phase if the enemy is on the defensive. This is a patrol, so they are not a defensive mission here, but if they were, they would act before us. But then we get to the friendly command phase, and this is really where everything you do happens. All the rest is just kind of like resolving things that are already in motion, but here's where you actually make decisions. So command is going to go from top to bottom, from the CO and then down to the first platoon. We also have a battalion commander, but in most scenarios, they're just off the map, and as long as your CO is still in radio contact, as long as they have their radio, then they're in contact with the battalion commander. So we're going to activate the CO, and what you do is you draw a card, and what the fridge? This is pretty terrible. So you're looking at there's tons of stuff on these cards, because again, they're used to resolve combats and randomization and all this stuff. But here, all you're looking at for command are these numbers up here. When we are activating somebody, like a CO is being activated by the battalion, you're looking at the big number. And when we're doing general initiative, like a platoon was not activated at all, and they're just kind of figuring out what to do on their own, or at the end of the turn, you'll use a smaller number. So here we get a 1, but there are some modifiers based on the status of our people. If our commander was under fire, or they were like a new commander or a veteran commander, they would get modifiers here. None of those apply because you're just a line like basic experience squad automatically. But if the current activity level is no contact, you haven't found the enemy yet, you get +1. So we are going to get +1 for all our draws this turn. So my CO is activated, and he gets 2 commands. And the main command your CO will do, they could like have squads move and do stuff like the platoons can do, but they have to activate the platoons to give the platoons a bunch of actions. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and activate the first and second platoon, which my CO can only do because they are in radio contact with the HQ for each of those platoons, because they are on adjacent cards. Like I said, well, because they have line of sight in general, but here they're adjacent, so they definitely have line of sight. So both of these guys are activated. Now, I could have used fewer than my full commands and saved them, and they would get added to whatever I drew for a future turn. But here I used everything, so I just say that he's done being activated. All right, now I get to do Platoon 1 and Platoon 2 in whatever order I want. Let's go and do Platoon 1 first. And they're getting, this is a more normal draw, 4 + 1 because we're still in no contact, so 5. And they are line officers during a normal visibility daytime march. So they can save up to 6 orders from one turn to another. I'm not going to save that many, but actually I'm only going to spend 1. I'm going to be really cautious here. I'm going to give one of the most basic orders, which is moving to an adjacent card. So my first platoon can tell anybody on their card, they don't have radios, so they have to be on the card to order them around. I'm going to tell the first squad of first platoon to charge into that marsh and see what's going on. Now, the marsh has some cover. That's what this big +1 here is. The woods has even more, +2. The open field's got nothing. So I think for this turn, I'm just going to send like 1 second platoon squad in here and 1 first platoon squad in here and call it a day and see who shows up before we bring up more potential victims to enemy fire. Now, whenever a unit moves, they get one of these exposed tokens that's going to make them a little bit easier to shoot for this turn. Now, that doesn't happen if you infiltrate, which is a special kind of movement you can do when people are already under fire. That's not available at the beginning of the mission. And this also means that you can't move this person again. So even if, like, my platoon commander decided to move up themselves with a command, which they can do, and try to order this guy again, they could order them to do some stuff, like find cover and that kind of thing. But these guys could not move again to a new card. They can move like within this card because sometimes there will be, terrain elements like foxholes, and they can get under the foxholes like within this card. But right now, none of that applies. And like I said, being pretty cautious. So I'm just going to go ahead and say we're done and save 4 commands for next time. And platoon 2 is getting 3 + 1 for the no contact 4. They're going to do the exact same thing. Just order a single squad up and then take a break. And we're going to go into the woods, the other safer spot. So let's send, the first squad here. Now, after you've done all the commands for these people, then you get what's called the general initiative commands. And this is where we're going to flip a card and do the bottom number. And this, I believe, at least in the example of play, is not modified by the +1 for no contact. I think that's right. So we're getting 3 general initiative commands. And these can be for anybody, so squads can do stuff on their own. And they're going to because they don't want to get killed. So they're going to take each an action called Seek Cover. Basically, they're trying to find a slightly more sheltered area in the marsh or the woods to make their survivability even better. So let's start out with the marsh squad. This number down here are how many cards I'm going to draw from the action deck, and I'm looking for, you can see it here, the word cover in the top. And this number here are the max number of different cover spots that can be on the marsh. So if I found like 1 spot of cover, like enemy soldiers coming in could not find their own cover since there's only 1 here. And all the cover in this scenario is going to be the same. You see how it's kind of like a bush icon? That means we're only going to find like soft basic cover that only gives us a +1 modifier to our defense. So it's not even that great if we find it, but hey, here we go. So over here, no cover. And even though we have 3 actions and we're only using 2 of them, you cannot try the same action more than once in a turn. So I can't try to seek cover again, even though they failed. Although there is an action you can use if a commander's in the same spot as them called Exhort, which lets you draw like 1 more card and try to just eke out that success. But anyway, they failed to find cover. Let's try the woods. We get 4 draw this time, so that's clearly a much better chance. And come on, shoot, no cover at all. All right, well, we got 1 more general initiative, so I could like have somebody else move up. Now we're going to play it safe. So that's it for friendly command. Now we go to enemy activity in offensive or patrol missions. Again, this is a patrol mission, so enemies would have acted here in a defensive mission. Here they would act here if they were already on the board, but they're not. That's where like they'll do some of their own actions, move around, change who they're shooting at. Then we go to mutual capture and retreat. If we are on spaces with enemy units that have been degraded and are like almost dead, we can capture them. Some units will retreat automatically if they're being fired at. None of that happens now. We don't have any vehicles or anti-tank. So we're going to the mutual combat phase. So first we have the fire mission update. If we were calling in artillery and stuff, we would resolve that. Then we have very important potential contact being evaluated. We're going to find out if our marsh or woods have any people there shooting at us. And then we'll get into some actual combat. So when you have potential contacts, A letters mean it's very likely contact. So we're actually going to automatically get somebody for the first card here. Whereas Bs are a little bit less likely to have contact. And you also have Cs in some scenarios. But importantly, both of these, we don't know which one's going to happen first. So we know that there's a 100% chance of getting contact for one of these, but we don't know if it'll be the marsh or the wood. So you use the same deck for randomizing that kind of stuff. And how it works is we just say this is 1, this is 2 out of 2 possibilities, and you draw a card and you find the 2 possibilities, and it's the second. This is a really cool, by the way of randomizing things. So however many possibilities you have, you use that number, and it tells you which one. So like if there there were 6 possibilities, we would have chosen the 4th. But yeah, so the woods are going to get resolved first. And we check potential contact. So it's an A marker, and we're currently in no contact. Whoops, it's automatic. We got some friends. And the actual contact, these are called enemy packages, are from this list. And we see what kind of contact it was. It was an A. So we are going to draw for a 6. And on a 1, we'll get 1. On a 2 through a 4, we'll get 2, 5, 3, 6, 4. So let's see what we got. We got the 4 for 6. So 2 through 4 is package 2, which is a light machine gun in foxholes in a random card on row 2 that's not spotted. They'll be shooting at us, but we cannot shoot at them yet until we actually nail down where they're located. So when they say row 1, row 2, that's not counting the staging area. So they are going to be somewhere here. And a core rule whenever you have these possible contacts popping up is that they have to be shooting at the person that discovered them. So these woods people have to get shot. And line of sight, except for mortar fire that's indirect, that's kind of a exception, always has to be in a direct line, including diagonals. So like we couldn't shoot from the gully draw to the woods, but from the orchard, the open fields, this gully draw, all of those are possibilities for this light machine gun that's going to be hiding in some foxholes. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, and they are in 2. Which is kind of a good result for us. They're on top of the hill. That's not great. They have a lot of line of sight, but they're also in open field. So besides the foxhole, they don't have any special defense to defend them anyway. And they immediately put down a very important token in the game, which is this PDF. This shows the line of fire, the direction of their fire. These tokens can both show fire being equally kind of applied in both directions. So like if my squad knew where they were, then I could do that. But right now, they are not spotted. So they're just shooting at us. And here I should put the unspotted here to show that. And then another very important token is volume of fire tokens, VOF. This applies to this entire card. So this machine gun is shooting automatic weapon fire. That's this A on their token on the left there, which gives a -1. That's bad. Minuses are bad for when you're getting attacked. A -1 modifier to this unit. So yeah, they're going to be exposed and suffering some machine gun fire as they walk into the woods. That's not great. I wish they'd found cover. But hey, we're not done yet. We might also have contact here. But first, we have to update our current activity level. We are not at no contact anymore. We are now at contact. Contact means that a single spot is under a VOF. So like one card is getting shot. Now, if we knew where they were and we were also returning fire, then we'd be one level up even more engaged. And then if you also have people like in the same space in point blank combat, you get the heavily engaged. But again, we're just at contact. And this matters because you're going to draw fewer cards for new potential contacts when you're more engaged. So the fact that we're only at contact means we're going to draw more cards, and there's a higher chance there will also be enemies coming from that card. So it kind of sucks. I wish that they had been spotted and we had been shooting at each other. I would have had less chance here. So I'm drawing 7 cards, it said, and if any one of them has the word contact at the top, heck yeah, that was great. Let me show you a card that does have it just so you can see where are the there we go. Like if it had said contact like that one did, then we would have gotten another contact. But no, this is just removed and nobody else is shooting at us yet. Yay. Although remember, we cannot beat the mission until we've explored every single space. We need to eventually send somebody into these fields. But for now, we ended up with not the worst result ever. The people that are in the best defended place are getting shot. Now they are getting shot by a machine gun and they might take a lot of damage here. We'll see how it goes. So after we've discovered what's happening with the potential contacts, now we have the actual combat effects. And we're going to draw for every single card and every unit that is suffering from a VOF. So here it's just squad 1 from the 2nd platoon. And we have to calculate the overall total. So they've got +2 from their cover. This -1 is just for like artillery fire. Don't worry about that. They've got a -1 from the automatic weapons. They've got a -2 from exposed. So their overall modifier is -1. And we just draw a card and we look at -1. Hey, we got lucky. Hit is the worst, miss is the best, but with a -1, getting a pinned result is really not that bad. Because now they are pinned down, which you'll see actually gives them a +1 to their defense, so they're kind of ducking their heads. But if they try to shoot anybody, they're going to be super ineffective. They can't do very many actions except for trying to rally and get rid of the pinned. So, you know, it's not the best situation to be in, but it could be a lot worse. Okay, and then we go to the cleanup phase. The big thing that happens then is that that, all these exposed tokens go away. So units can move again, and they've kind of settled into their new location, so they're not going to get that big negative to being shot. And that finishes up round 1. So things will go a little bit better, hopefully, in round 2. All right, so we're not doing events. They're not in the defensive stance, so it's right back to our command. Let's see how the CO does. Only getting 2, and they don't get the +1 bonus anymore because we are not in no combat. So they still have line of sight to platoon 1 and 2, so let's just activate them away. They're the ones who should be doing the real heavy lifting anyway. And I think I'm going to have first platoon go first. And they're getting 3 more, so they're at 7. Although during a daytime mission, you can only spend 6 at a time, so they will not be able to use all 7, but that's fine. All right, so we want to do, I think I want to send the second squad into the open fields. Go ahead and try to clear that contact now that we don't have, like, immediate death going on over here. Then, although it's a little bit iffy to do this, being a little bit more aggressive, I'm going to do what's called a platoon move, which means everybody attached to this platoon, which is everybody in this card, for 2 of my 6 remaining actions, are going to move over here. So we got 1 squad, we got the commander themselves, we've got the artillery forward observer, our anti-tank unit, and our machine gunner. And this whole crew is exposed, although that squad that was already there, they are not. And now I'm going to spend an action to try to spot this guy so we can actually start shooting him down. So the base draw for pretty much every action where you're looking for specific icons like spotting here is 2 cards. We don't have any bonuses here. We're not on a hill looking down on them. We aren't green or veteran. Now, the target space does have 0 cover. They're on an open field, so it's a little bit easier to find them. That'll give us a 3-card draw. They are under cover, though, so that makes it back down to 2. And they are, no, they're not exposed. Oh, they do have an automatic attack. They're kind of noisy because they're shooting a machine gun, right? So we will back up to 3 cards. And we're looking for this icon on one of the cards we draw to successfully spot them. And no. Okay, so I'm going to spend 1 more action to exhort and give myself 1 more card. Although actually, looking at the rules, it says that a given unit can't try the same action more than once. But I think the platoon leader can order multiple different units to try it out. So even though one of them failed, there's a bunch of people to pick from. So I'm going to use another action to get 3 more cards. I think that's how it works. We'll just keep on doing that until we get, dang it. Oh, we got 1 final action because then we're at our limit of having spent 6, even though we have 1 left for next turn. All right, come on, you. Hey, there we go. Okay, we finally got it. So a lot of stuff happens immediately because this guy is spotted. We suddenly, and you check this kind of like all the time when the situation changes, we will suddenly start shooting the heck out of this guy because even though these guys are pinned, they're now going to return fire. And then, hey, this whole crew is also going to return fire. And you'll see it's one way because right now they're just still shooting into the woods. And when multiple things are shooting at the same card, you use only the best modifier out of all of them, which in this case, because we haven't actually used an action to shoot a grenade at them yet, we haven't called in artillery on them yet, although maybe we should have, but we had to spot them first. With all that stuff being the case, the best we have is the automatic fire from the light machine gun. So kind of like for here, that is what's going on. But if you have at least 2 directions shooting at a given card, you also get this bonus called crossfire. It's going to subtract an additional -1 from their defense value. So having multiple people... Now, even if we had 3 or 4 or 5, the crossfire never changes. It's only -1. So that's the best we're going to do for now. And by the way, just to note, now that we are actually firing at the other person, we are engaged. So when we resolve these 2 potential contacts, because I think I'm going to go for that one as well, it'll be less likely that anything will happen. So that's it for first platoon. They have to save their last one. Let's see how second platoon does. Whoa, 5. So they're at 8, although, again, they can't use more than 6 of them in 1 turn. All right, now I certainly don't want to send... everybody into the woods. They would be getting shot by the automatic weapons fire because they just kind of keep on shooting, and anybody that goes in there will get shot. And I also don't want to send a ton of people into an open field, so gosh, this is going to be kind of wasteful if I just send 1 squad in. Man, is that really what I want to do? I could have the commander follow up themselves and do some extra fun actions, but if some enemy pops up here, we'll be in a really bad way. Yeah, kind of. I can't save 7. I'll just save the max 6, but I don't love that. Oh, well. Now we get our initiative draw, and it's 3. Nice. Oh, and sorry, I should have noted that they automatically start shooting at them too, because right now there's nobody else to shoot at. And hey, you know what? For one of them, let's try to call in some artillery. So the forward observer needs to have line of sight, but besides that, the artillery is shooting from off the board, so they can kind of do wherever they want. And they're just going for a straight 2 draw, and they need an explosion symbol. They didn't get one. Can I exhort with general initiative? Go for one more card. Let's say I can. So that'll be... Oh, it's the reshuffle. So that doesn't count. We just draw... Hey, there we go. So we did get the artillery to go off, but then I'm going to reshuffle this. So this is not going to be pretty for the light machine gun. So I put this -5. That's what the artillery calls down. The mortar forward observer doesn't do as nasty of a thing. But this -5 pending fire mission goes right up here. And in a second, it's going to get flipped over. It's going to devastate the light machine guns area. But the other nice thing is when you call down artillery fire, it cuts down line of sight out of the card, not into it. We can still shoot at them, but out of the card for the turn. So this guy's at fire on the woods is going to cancel, and we won't be getting shot at, which is, I think, a lovely thing. All right, so that was 2 of my 3 initiative activations. For the last one, should I have one of these open field guys try to find cover? Sure, let's have this guy try to find cover. It worked out so well last time, right? Yep, still no cover. Okay, that was a 2 draw because they're in the open fields. It's not very likely to find anything good there. All right, now enemy activity. Stuff actually happens this time, and we got to see if that light machine gun is going to do anything. So there's this whole enemy activation thing based on their current situation. We are using defensive tactics and deliberate. That's what they said to use in the mission. So we see the first thing that applies. So they're not on the same card as one of my units. They're not out of ammo. This ammo is used for like some of your heavier weapons, but in this scenario, it's not tracked at all. They are under fire. They are under cover, and they're under fire from a different direction to its own PDF. So with deliberate tactics, it says we're drawing for a 4. None of this is really going to matter because they're getting hit by artillery, and they got a 4, which means they will shift PDF to the direction of incoming fire. So I guess they have 2 different options here. Well, I mean, I don't even know why I'm drawing for this. The artillery's just going to get rid of it. But yeah, so they could go 1 here or 2 here, and they shift to 2. So they decide, we're going to fire at this squad over here. And these guys aren't getting fired at anymore. Yay. I'm just going through the motions so you can see what the rules mean. Again, the artillery fire is going to invalidate all of this. So that's it for enemy activations. Nobody's retreating automatically. For that to happen, they need to have already taken some hits and like be degraded quite a bit. And again, no capturing. So let's see who we discover. Although, crud, I just realized my own success is going to hurt me a bit here because the fire mission update happens first, then potential contacts, then pin recovery, and then combat. So this mission gets updated to incoming, which means that they no longer have line of sight out, which means they are not shooting at these guys. And that means, sadly, we are back to only contact level as we draw for these other A's, because only one spot has a VOF going on. So yeah, that's not great. All right, so we're going to see which of these 2 is going to be resolved first, and it is the left one, the left open field, and we're drawing 7 cards again for contact. Lord help us. And yep, if we get at least 1, that's enough. So we are doing a contact. Who's it going to be this time? 2. Which is the same thing, a light machine gun in foxholes shooting at that open field. Now, they'll never pop up in a spot that already has people, although here only these ones have line of sight. So 1 or 2, they're in the gully. Wonderful. And they're unspotted, and they're shooting the heck out of these very poorly defended guys over here. Oh, I forgot to... Wait, yeah, they moved in this turn. I forgot to mark them as exposed. Sorry about that. Exposed and under fire. Great. Now, I didn't mention the gullies, by the way. You'll see that they have white down here and then green everywhere else, and they have 2 values for their defense. If they are being shot only across the white, basically line of sight continues through there, like you're kind of looking down the gully instead of across it, where it's harder to hit them. So if you only attack down the white side, then they get +1. If there's any fire coming from anywhere else, they get the full +2. Okay, but now we do have at least 2 people, so we are back to engage for the other draw. Which means we're drawing 5 cards. Kind of still a high chance that we'll get a contact here. Rally, cover. Yes. All right, so we have fully cleared out all of the nastiest contacts in the mission. That's great. And we only have 2 light machine gun teams to deal with, and this one should hopefully be dead in a second. We could have gotten some nastier stuff like their own immediate artillery mission called down, but that didn't happen, luckily. Okay, before we get to the actual combat, anybody that is pinned but is no longer actually being shot at is automatically not pinned anymore. So yay, that squad is okay. Not sure if they'll be okay, but we'll find out. So let's resolve some fire. We got to do here and here, and the order doesn't matter for this. So let's do them. So their total, ouch, is +0, +1 from the foxholes. That's all they got in their favor. And then -6, so -5. But the worst you can do is -4. And yeah, oh, wow. Only a -4 would have been a hit here. That was pretty lucky for them, but not enough. So when you get a hit, you draw a new card, and you're checking right here. Now, everyone is a line unless otherwise indicated. Veteran and green will be hit differently. So the F here means that they get degraded 1 step. I haven't talked about steps yet. So squads will have like 3 or 4 steps. You see these like 3 dots here. If they got hurt, they'd flip over to their 2-step side. Whereas smaller teams like this light machine gun have a single step. So this F means that a single step of that card is getting converted to a fire team, a much weaker unit. So they are not and will never again be a machine gun, which is great for us. Now, they're still in foxholes, and they are automatically pinned. Anytime a unit is hit, everyone who's like left alive after the hit is pinned automatically. And yeah, that's it for the incoming. We'll clear that away in a second, and they'll be able to start shooting again. Okay, and then we're drawing here. This is not going to be nice. This is a -3 because of the automatic weapon fire and the exposed, and 0 cover. It's a hit for us, too. All right, let's see how nasty this is for the squad. Oh, my gosh. So this means one of them is going to become a paralyzed team. One of them is going to become a litter team, which neither of which are combat ready. And then because it's 2 out of the 3 steps are gone, the last one's going to become an assault team or a fire team. My choice. I guess I'll do a fire team because at least then they can shoot. Yeah, so that was a devastating result. That squad has basically ceased to exist for the moment. Now, if a commander gets in there, we can reconstitute it eventually. But, oof, that was a rough result. Okay, then we go to cleanup. So the artillery goes away. All the exposed go away. And now, even though he's pinned, he does still start laying down some fire now that he can see again. So we go to the engagement priorities chart. So for an enemy card, it's the card with the most friendly steps, which means I did not want this. They are shooting at my way overcrowded marshes. Now, luckily, they're just laying down some small arms fire with a +0 modifier. That's what the S means small arms is best they do, whereas A is automatic. C is their range, by the way. Sorry, I didn't say that. So C means close range. They can only shoot 1 card away. L, which most units have, is long range. That's up to 2 cards away. Although, as we've noted on this map, there's such terrible line of sight that that's usually not going to be able to be possible. All right, it takes us to turn 3. Things could be going better, could be going worse. Friendly command. Let's see what our CO is going to get for this time. All right. So let's go ahead and activate both of our buddies here. And I think I'll go ahead and use the last 2 to actually move up. Well, first the mortar and then the CEO. So we'll still be in radio contact. But now that the mortar's actually on the board, it can shoot a lot. And hey, no, never mind. I was going to say that it could shoot right away, but it can't because mortar sections like this can never fire when they're exposed, and they also can't do infiltrating movement to avoid getting exposed. So basically, I'll have to wait a turn for them to set up before they can shoot. But yeah, they lay down heavy fire, which is like -3 automatically. And they can also do indirect fire, like I could call in a strike over here. Awesome stuff once they're ready to go. All right, I think I want to do Platoon 1 next. They're the one that's under fire, which is not lovely. Now, since it's only small arms fire, they're going to get a -1 modifier to their draw, which means they only get to add 2 to the one they save. So they only got 3. First, I'm going to try to have, I don't know, I'm going to have to say who, but one of the squads try to spot those guys. Let's see, they're not at +3 concealment. They are an automatic, but they're also undercover, so it's just going to be a straight up 2. And again, I'm looking for the... Hey, there we go. That's great. Oh, man. No artillery, but that was good. So these guys are spotted. Now, this card will continue shooting where it's shooting until, like, somebody tells it to stop. But these guys, at least the fire team, will immediately start shooting, which is good. At least keep these machine gunners honest. All right, next, should we try to call down a fire operation again? Sometimes you have a limited number of strikes, but in this mission you have an infinite number, so you can just go and go again. So sure, let's try that for their second action. We're just drawing 2, so not the highest chance. Now we didn't get it. Now we have one left. I would love to get some cover and fire going over here and also just not have like everybody in the world in here. So sure, let's send one of our squads. I'm going to do what's called infiltration movement this time. You draw 2 cards, and if either of them has like a little hiding squad symbol, nope, then the infiltration is successful. It looks like that, by the way. But they still complete the move either way. It just means that they wouldn't have had the exposed token on them, so they wouldn't have been as easy to shoot. So yeah, he is exposed. And then who is he going to shoot at? Because unless you like actually order them, they just kind of shoot automatically. So closest card is going to apply to either of the people. But card projecting the strongest VOF is the machine gunner, which is great because that's who we wanted them to shoot. So they're going to go in there, which is also going to get us another crossfire. Although I realize, that actually didn't help at all, did it? Because now that I'm shooting from the direction, we're getting the +2 for their defense instead of the +1, so it kind of all evens out. Whatever. So that's everything for Platoon 1. They don't have anything saved. How about Platoon 2? Oh my god. Okay. Well, they got 10. They can't use them all. It's fine. I think, let's go and do a platoon move for 2 of the 10. Get the whole crew up in a more advantageous position. Of course, they're all super exposed now. And hey, what the heck, might as well spend 1 more to send squad 2 up since they're the only one not exposed. Oh, and sorry, I didn't do that's automatic weapon. Oh, and these guys start shooting at them too. It's just a lot of people shooting is what I'm saying. Not that most of it matters that much. Then what the hey, let's try to call in some mortar fire on them, right? Why not? That would save them from getting shot. So we need to, dang it. Let's exhort for 1 more. Nope. And we can only spend 1 more because again, max of 6. What else is there we can do here? Oh, I know. I can try to have my anti-tank make a grenade attack on them. That would also be pretty useful. So now we're looking for the grenade symbol. We got the reshuffle. Nope. Dang it. All right, so that's it for our... Well, that's right. We do get our general stuff. Wow, 4? Ooh, but I just checked, and it says you can't perform the same action. Sorry, I'm figuring out the rules myself sometimes. You can't perform the same action more than once in the same impulse. But guess what? The general initiative is a new impulse. So I think I can try to call some fun artillery shenanigans down. So sure, let's use 1 of the 4 to try to call another mortar strike on them. See if we get it this time. Gosh darn it. And let's exhort for another one. Nope. Okay, and then let's try to call an artillery team down on that nastier guy there. So, no, sorry, that's just 2. Gosh darn it, and we'll exhort that. Hey, there we go. What's the 3 mean? I think it's like if we had battalion artillery, I think that means we'd get to use that. But here it's just a giant pending mission. Although, crud, now I'm still letting them all get shot. Why'd I do that? Wait, can I say that I changed? Too late. Okay, whatever. Yeah, even though like the fire is not that strong here, I got to draw for every single unit. So there's a good chance some of them are going to get murdered. Shoot. Oh, wait. You know what? I realize it's not as bad as I thought because if all the fire coming into a space is coming from pinned units, you actually use the all pinned value, which is +2. So these guys are going to be at a +3 modifier overall. They still could die, but there's a much lower chance of it happening. So that makes you feel a bit better. Oh, we got to check for enemy activity because these dudes might not even stay here. All right, so they're both, again, going to potentially switch to a different direction. So this guy, that's a 4. They got a 4, so they do shift to fire. Oh, so they're shooting at the exposed guy. I kind of like that less. So boop. And this guy uses the pinned table. So he's pinned... and pinned and undercover. So they're going to they're going to fall back. See, never mind. I guess we're not getting shot at all. That's nice. Now, when they fall back, they would actually like go off the board if they can, but here they're just going to go up. And they first want to be in a card with no line of sight. But yeah, since my guys moved up, they'll all have line of sight. So then they just want to go to the one with the best defense, which is equivalent for either of those. So we'll say 1, 2. They're going to the woods in the middle. All right, so yeah, a lot of stuff happens here. Now, they all still keep shooting. They don't care that nobody's there anymore. Unless I actually like move them or give them a ceasefire or a shift fire action. They just are like, hey, maybe somebody's still in those fields, and they just keep gunning them down. But yes, very happy that I don't have to draw 5 times for my marsh over here to get bulldozed. And now we go to the combat phase. So, well, that's right. We don't care that this guy changed which direction he's shooting because he's still just getting blown up. Oh, these guys are not... Who's actually getting shot at now? I guess oh, man. Are we going to be at... Yeah, we're back down to just contact because only one place is getting shot again. That sucks. Although the Bs are less likely to pull. All right, so let's see if we're going to draw for this one or this one. First ones, we're doing the Orchard Grove. For B with just contact, it's a 5. Man. Darn it. One contact hiding in there. Now, B's have a different package list, and it can be nastier. 7. What do we got? A squad in a trench and a machine gun in a bunker? What the... Oh, my God. Random card number 3. All right, so they have to be here or here because they can't be in the spot where another unit already is, and they have to be looking at this guy. So 1 or 2. Come on, 2. The Orchard Grove is a little better. Nope. We have a few different squads it could be, so I'm going to draw. We're getting the one that has automatic fire. That is also worse. This is a nightmare, y'all. And yeah, the bunker only shoots in one direction. That's the nice part. Although, oh my God, they're on a hill? Oh, they're on a hill. So, like, if this guy goes away, they're going to keep on shooting in the same direction into the woods where, like, half my army is. Oh, man, what? And that's their last light machine gun. They have, like, a certain kind of complement of units that they could deploy. And if they had been out of light machine guns, we would have had to drawn again for a different unit to be facing us off. So that's terrible. This is really bad. Oh, my Orchard Grove guy is so dead. So, yeah, I guess it's just automatic fire. It's not the worst thing it could be, but oof. Okay, well, we're definitely back and engaged, which means we only draw 3 cards for the other one. And no contact, yay. So we only got 2 more cards to clear out, but now... Gotta call some artillery fire and mortars down on them. Nothing else is going to do it. Because that bunker is +3 and the woods are +2. Ooh, I forgot about artillery being an extra -1 when it hits in woods from like the, I forget what it's called, but the effect where like the bombs kind of spread into the foliage. So that might help once we actually get over there. But yeah, this is something. All right, so we got a lot of combat results. We'll just go kind of left to right, top to bottom. So these guys are at -5, -6 from the crossfire, +3 from the terrain, the gully and the foxholes. So that, what is that? Oh, wait, we don't have the small arms here. That's -3, right? So not quite the worst, but hey, it's still enough for a hit. Yay. And let's see if they're just dead. Yes, they are. So C is casualty. That's the worst one. The P would only apply if there were multiple steps. There's a light machine gun with a single step. So yeah, they become a casualty. The foxholes are still there if we want to go into them. That part's nice. But casualties automatically get captured. You don't have to like move anybody in if they don't have any friends on the same space as them during the next capture phase. So that's great. Not so great is this guy probably dying. So he's got a -2 overall. Oh, just pinned. Wow, we've gotten lucky. Well, except for that one combat. We've gotten mostly lucky with some of this stuff. So he's holding down the bunker's fire for a bit. We can maybe like rush somebody in here, and bunkers can't shoot somebody in their space, although we still have to deal with the crazy machine gun squad over there. You know, I think that's going to be artillery or nothing. I don't know what else could possibly help deal with that. All right, so clean up. All the exposes go away. The artillery is gone, and the crossfire doesn't really matter anymore. Oh, and sorry, this guy would not be pinned anymore because he's not actually getting shot at. That would have happened back before we were attacking and stuff. Oh, wait, which means that he would immediately start shooting at one of them. Well, even if he was pinned, he would have been shooting at one of them. So we got to randomly do 1 or 2. So we actually have to draw for an attack. 1. Oh, so they are cross-firing that guy. But I think the card we drew was still just a pin for a -4. So lucky us, he's not going to get hurt anymore. Ooh, I just realized these woods are on a hill, so we can like shoot all the way over here, like call down artillery from that. That would definitely be good. But again, just to emphasize, these dudes are still shooting into there. These dudes are still shooting into there. Unless I make them move where they'll reevaluate where they're shooting, or tell them to shift fire as an order, or tell them to cease fire, they're going to keep doing that. Now, ceasefire conveniently applies to an entire card. So, like, for a single order, I could shut down all the fire right there, and they'd be able to, you know, reorganize where they want to attack. So that's good, at least. That's the end of turn 3. Let's go to turn 4. All right, so going into turn 4, things are kind of complicated. By the way, I realized that I had moved the foxholes with the fire team, which doesn't make sense. So they're still on top of the open field hill. And also, I forgot to put the unspotted markers for those guys. But yeah, what do I want to do here? I think I want to get into both of those potential contact spots if I can stop the fire being laid down by everybody into them. I'd like to call in mortar fire on those guys, although I think it's going to be tough to do. Maybe get somebody into that hill of woods to lay down some fire. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what our draws give us. Case of Asia, whoops, is getting a reshuffle, but a 3. All right, so they're still in line of sight and still in radio contact with both of the platoons. I'll activate both of them. And for the third one, they can't call in a mortar strike from these guys because they need to have line of sight to whatever location is being attacked and then like radio contact going back to them. I think I'll actually have them charge in here. That'll stop their own PDF of attack. And then I'll easily be able to, with both the platoon leaders, call a ceasefire or just move everybody here. I'll do the same thing here and then get up and I think send those guys up onto the hill. So it should be safe by the time that we're actually like assessing what happens in this field, that they won't be getting shot. So yeah, let's go ahead and activate and activate and send that guy forward. And they can move into already discovered cover and such, so he can go straight into the foxholes that were left behind. Now, the second he does that, he will open fire on the fire team. He has a line of sight too, so that should be good. All right, next let's do second platoon. They're kind of less on the front lines. They've got 7. Geez. Oh, and sorry, this is not there anymore. Although now that I think about it, I think it is, because the mortar would be shooting a heavy attack. So we just got to make sure that we change that or do something about it. But yeah, that'll be easy. So I'm going to do a platoon move for everybody. So that's 2 of our 7. Get the whole team to move up. And then for another one, I'm going to send these guys up to the woods as planned. Although, crud, yeah, I'm just making things more complicated than I need to. Because I just realized that their fire, they the second they move in, they start firing on the same direction that guy was already firing on, which means even if he moves out, they're not going to stop. But he does start laying down some fire. Well, actually, hold on. I think, yeah, friendly units always target the closest card first, and then the one laying down the nastiest fire. So even though they do have line of sight, well, they don't have enough range. Never mind, they only have long range. They can only reach to there. And that'll set up a crossfire over here. And I've got 4 left, but I can only spend 3. So here's the important ones. We'll spend 1 to call a ceasefire here. No, sorry, clearly we're not shooting over here. And then they immediately reassess if they can shoot. So like a ceasefire doesn't actually stop them from shooting. And they'll be like, hey, I see that guy, blah, and start killing him. Which does mean we're switched now to automatic weapon fire. Although I could have also just used the command that's shift fire, and that just makes it move to somebody else. And then to stop the mortars from killing these guys, I'm going to spend another action. And I'm in radio contact with the mortar because I have line of sight there, and I have line of sight to this fire team. And they can shoot again. They don't need line of sight. They don't need a direct thing. They just need to be within their range of 2. So they're calling in heavy weapons fire here. This only lasts for 1 turn. Then you have to have the mortar shoot again. But there's no draw for it, so that's good. Okay, so that leaves us, we can spend 1 more action or just hold on to 2. Now, sadly, they can't try to spot those guys, so I think that might be it. And yeah, at this point, only 1 person is firing in there, so platoon 1 can take care of that. Yeah, so I'll have 2 stop, and let's see what 1 gets for. I can work with that. Now, he's currently shooting in there, but I can use my initiative actions to have him do something else. And actually, well, he's pinned anyway, but yeah, we should be able to figure something out there. Although you can sometimes get 0 orders drawn, so you know, I'm just gonna hope. And I'm gonna have gonna actually be a little crazy here. Actually, I'm realizing because they're pinned, I can't, like, give them other actions. Maybe I should slow down. I don't got to charge in there this turn, do I? So here, I'll spend 1 action to call for a ceasefire. And then even though it would kind of split my people and send me out of communication range, I could send 1st Platoon HQ over here to rally these guys and maybe even reconstitute them into a squad. So, sure. Okay, so that's 1 more. And then I'm going to spend some time rallying. So rallying is automatic if there's no volume of fire on the card. Basically, they can kind of pick themselves up once they're not getting shot at anymore. So I'm going to... Litter team is the worst. No, sorry, paralyze is worst. They become a litter team. Litter team becomes a fire team. So I'll go ahead and turn the paralyze into a litter team, and then one of the litter teams into a fire team. And then once we have 3 fire teams, I can reconstitute the squad that was back into existence with its 3 steps. Although because fire teams automatically have green experience instead of line, instead of like regular, the new squad is going to have green experience as well, so they'll be a little bit less effective in general. But now let's see what enemy activities happen. So yeah, I forgot I'm supposed to randomize because like one enemy's activity can change another one, so that's 1, that's 2, so they're going first. And I use the LAT table because they're only a fire team. Now, interestingly, none of these apply, so I'm guessing they just do nothing. Now, if they're pinned, it would change and some other stuff would happen, but yeah, I guess for now, they'll just keep on shooting where they're shooting. Now, as for these guys, they're in this one, so they're going to automatically try to concentrate fire. Concentrating fire is another action where you'll draw 2 cards, and basically you're going to put, and you can do this an infinite number of times, another -1 token on the card, so like eventually, if you just keep on concentrating fire, you'll you'll mow somebody down. So I guess they both do it separately, probably. So first one fails. You're looking for the same crosshair symbol. And second one succeeds. Looking great for our sad little buddy here. Okay, now we go into the capture and retreat section. So these guys get captured automatically, again, unless they have a friend there. They're just done. And yeah, basically, the paralyzed teams and litter teams, they would try to run away if they were being shot. But like a fire team like this, or my own litter teams down here that are not in combat, they're not going to do anything. Okay, so now we go to the combat phase, and we got to find out what's here. And we are back in engaged status because we have multiple places with VOFs going on, which means happily with a B, we're only drawing 3 cards. Yes, okay. Yeah, at this point, we're hoping we don't have to fight anybody else. Only 1 more card to clear and then 2 more places to defeat. And speaking of defeating, let's get to our combat. Oh, wait, crap. I never did my my initiative draw. 2 orders, come on. So what was I going to do? I was going to try to have this guy unpin maybe. Or actually here, this guy can try to spot them, can he? Because he still has line of sight even though he doesn't have attack range. So yeah, let's have that be one of them, trying to spot. Wait, should it be they're undercover, but they're automatic weapons? So yeah, I think I only draw 2. Okay, that's a failure. And then I don't really want to get rid of the pin because that guy's getting shot a lot. I guess I could just turn the last one of these into a fire team. I mean, I could have reconstituted as a 2-step squad. Might as well get the full thing next turn. Okay, sorry, back to our regular scheduled stuff. So let's do the combat here. This guy's got +2 and then -4, so -2 overall. And good, they are hit. And they're green, green because they're a fire team, so they are a litter team. So if we keep shooting at them, they're basically going to run away, and they won't project a PDF anymore after we reevaluate things. And then that's the only other one. So this is nasty, though. -3 and then +2 from the terrain and the pin. So I guess just -1. Oh, nice. Only pinned. So they remain pinned. If you get a miss, by the way, while you're pinned, then the pin goes away. It's like, yeah, you're not getting shot accurately enough to care. Okay, and let's clean up. And that includes taking away the heavy weapon fire because we have to lay that down again. All right, so let's see. CO gets 5. Wow. All right. Now, they are no longer in contact with first platoon unless they move, but I'm not going to have them move there. So they will activate second platoon. Now, I want to get them the heck out of here because if these guys, infiltrate away or something, then they're going to be shooting at them next. So let's, for one, go ahead and send the mortar team up there, and then for another one, take themselves. I guess they could technically be in the foxholes. Sure, they could all fit. Although having more than 3 steps in a given piece of cover makes you get a negative, so maybe not. What if I send my guys over there? Seems like it might be a good idea, right? Sure. I'll go ahead. So they will go into the foxhole in this case. I will go ahead and spend my second to last action to send that platoon or that squad in there, and then I'm going to stop. Although I realize for the moment he just immediately starts shooting at that guy and is not helping at all to get those spotted people dealt with. All right, now let's check second platoon. I'll explain what happens with first platoon out of contact in a second. Only 2 more, so they got 4 total. Okay, but let's have them do a platoon move up to this hill. Leaves them with 2 left. Let's try to spot these guys. Again, I think that's just a draw of 2. Ooh, nice. All right, so they both become unspotted. You can't have a mix of spotted and unspotted units on one card. Now, sadly, nobody changes where they're shooting because they already have targets or fake targets in some cases. But now here's the potentially good part. I've got line of sight to here to try to call in a mortar strike. All right, again, drawing 2. Yes. So that's a mortar, which is only a -3, but it is still going to cut down their line of sight for the turn, so definitely still a great thing. No, we don't have a PDF here anymore, do we? All right, that was it for them. Now let's talk about first platoon. They still get a card to draw on, but kind of like the general initiative, they're going to get these smaller numbers. So only 2 here because they weren't in line of sight to actually get given real orders. So yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and reconstitute the fire team. Although, wait, do I have to make a draw for that? I think I do. Yeah, I got to draw and look for the word rally. Oh, hey, there we go. So we have our lesser version of that squad. But then for my second action, I want to get back in line of sight. So since this is about to lose all this crazy fire that's being laid down, I guess I'll move in here. And hopefully I can just keep on calling fire missions down on them to murder them all. Might work out, right? Oh, crap, I still haven't got anybody in there. You know what? I'm going to send the newly reconstituted squad in here instead into the foxholes. And I'll just try to, so that shuts down this attack because they're the ones laying down the fire. And I'll try to get those guys to stop shooting too. Oh, and I guess they do immediately start shooting at those guys. Although clearly the pending fire mission is going to matter a lot more. Okay, now let's see if I can get them to stop shooting with 2. Okay, that'll work, right? Oh, wait, but they're still under fire. I think they're under fire for the second, so they have to try to unpin themselves before they can change where they're shooting. All right, so we got to draw for a... Let's freaking go again, yes! We got to draw for a rally, I was going to say. So they're no longer pinned, which would be bad normally in the situation, but it's going to be good. And then maybe they should... Yeah, they'll try to infiltrate up there, right? So they move without getting exposed. You know, not that it matters too much. Okay, so they're still shooting into there. But I think all the VOFs go away since nobody's actually there to get shot at anymore. And they're just going to join. They're shooting into that space for now. We haven't been able to switch them over here to get the crossfire yet. All right, so they're under fire from a different PDF, which is going to be a 2. Wait, they're going to try to concentrate fire where they already are? Is that right? So they don't know that we're gone yet? I guess that's how that's supposed to work. So yeah, they try to concentrate fire and don't do anything, I think. And the retreat step, this other team would run away, but I forgot to mark them as pinned, which means that they can't. They have to be unpinned to get away automatically. Oh, sorry, but I should see what they do, shouldn't I? 2, no actions. We just sit there and take it. Okay, now going to the combat phase, we got to oh, well, first this turns into that, which means they don't have line of sight anymore. Oh, nobody's shooting here, obviously. So yeah, I think, okay, there we go. Much simpler PDF now. Now we do still count as engaged because their 2 places are being shot, even though we're not being shot at all right now. Which means we're still drawing just 3 cards for our last one. Awesome. So no more contact. We know who our final opponents are, and we've got some heavy fire going on all of them. So let's see what happens with these dudes. We got to draw individually. So we do get a -1 modifier because they're in the woods. So it's actually a -4. -2. So for the trench guys, it's even. And for them, they're at +1. Gosh, this cover is crazy. Okay, so the even guys, whoops, reshuffle. For the even guys, just a total miss, so that sucks. And for the +1, they get pinned. Though the bunker has literally no targets and can't turn, so who cares? It's really just the light machine gun at this point that matters. And we still got to draw for them, so they're still, what are they? They're at a 0, no, +1 because of the pin. But they get hit. Dang it, why didn't the other guys get hit with that kind of thing? So yeah, I think they're down to paralyzed now. So they are just a mess. All right, so where do they start shooting? Most friendly steps. Okay, so they start getting shot at by the trench light machine gun. Again, the bunker one can't do anything at this point. Although hopefully we can call down some more artillery. We'll see. Let's see if we can wrap this up. The command gets 2, so up to 3. Again, they can't reach the first platoon yet. Oh, no, I just realized, unless we get a mortar mission, this should be heavy fire, shouldn't it? Now, in a campaign where you were tracking ammo, you wouldn't want to just keep on shooting your mortars at nothing like this, but here I don't really care. Okay, platoon 2's getting just 2 commands. They're going to try to call down mortar fire again. And, oh, wow, we got it. All right, great. Although I want to try to also get the artillery fire, which will clearly be a lot better. All right, and yeah, I guess we'll save the other one, and let's see what first platoon gets. A single command, come on. I was going to try to bring them up, like, with the artillery, but I guess for now, I'll just move back over here where I can actually bring these people in effectively. Okay, and then how many general do I get? All right, so let's see. Let's have these guys shift their fire here to get the crossfire bonus to help the pending fire mission do a little better. And from other one, I'll move the artillery. Oh wait, shoot! If I move the artillery up, then the bunker can start shooting at them, can it? Oh yeah, I can move the artillery up to the gully. There we go. And what's the enemy doing? They're under fire from a different PDF. 3. They're going to shift fire to a different direction, although it won't really matter because they're about to lose line of sight from the artillery. I mean, besides artillery, I could like run in here and use grenades to take these people out, but I don't feel like that's worth it. All right, so get into combat. Big hit there, which means, again, that they don't actually get attacked anymore. And let's just resolve this. So it's slightly better this time, right? So it's -5 with the woods. So this guy's at -1, and this guy's at +1 still with the pinned. All right, so the 1 light machine gun. Ooh, Did I say, what did I say? -5 +2 +2. Yes. Okay, cool. Oh, actually, they would have been hit on a lot of these results, wouldn't they? So that's a hit. And they, become paralyzed. Nice. So their only way of exerting any firepower, like anywhere at this point, is gone. Love that. Ooh, sorry, this is supposed to be like that. And then how about the bunker? Still pinned, right? Yeah, they were +1, still pinned. All right, so I think we can call things at this point. It's basically impossible for them to lay down fire unless they just leave the bunker, which I think is something they can do, but I think usually when you actually go into their space, so yeah, I could easily get like the artillery over here and start laying down -5 incomings until they die. So yeah, not a simplistic game, and I'm sure I got some rules wrong, so anybody who's really familiar with the system, feel free to jump in the comments and let me know what rules I was missing. But I hope you enjoyed watching this one. I hope it was helpful, and I'm going to try to go play some of the campaigns and then do a review of the system overall later on. But thanks for watching, everybody, and a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. Willie MF, Pedro Lucas, Nick Skeen, Steve Wren, Miles, and Wayne Scott. We'll see you at the next stop.